You had the mandate, the power, the authority to conduct an investigation. In fact, all the time for your expert externally, your state resources will be deal. I'll parade our investigation. I'll cover nga recommend put a investigate. Bawa Gambia fair warta de. Al nga sobe amuta de. Yeah, muntu wala investigation for muntu. Correct. You had the power, you had the authority. They gave you everything that you want. Money was spent. The nation gave you their ears. Small baby la moika ila. Banko baby la moika. Iko investigation. Iparete ko te investigation or recommend correct. Muntu mala mesobea. That is my problem. So in general, that in itself, I committee I la do ko ning I Kenya ma understand. How can you recommend that Barbie Batambe to be investigated? Investigated. The word should have been prosecuted. But why is it that those words are not being used?
Means they have not done their job because they are tasked to investigate. So if they yes,
Ami Bensouda,
yes,
perceived
what perceived
conflict of interest. Bio, this whole thing started because the perception in town was Ami Bensouda was conflicted. This was the perception in town. Guess what? We gave them a mandate and task, state resources. We gave them the ears and eyes of the nation to watch and listen to them. At the end of the day, they came out to say the conclusion is there is a perception that Ami Bensouda was conflicted. So we didn't move a needle here with this investigation. We didn't move a needle. With Ami Bensouda, the perception was he was conflicted. The perception was, that you came out to tell us, you believe that there is a perception that Ami Bensouda is conflicted? That in itself is like a taxpayer. This is a slap to the taxpayer. I'm not saying Ami should be found wanting. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying, we started, we believe, investigation on more investigate, and the primary subjects here of the investigation that we wanted, Ami Bensouda, Batambedu, understand it? There should be a third person, Ahmad Bah. And with regards to Ahmad Bah, is the typical case of Bungo Boita Sakam. Because these people, Abdullah and Watson Gambela correspondence, if you read it, Abdullah Sise, they had a lead. In those words, but that was a lead. If you are conducting an investigation, somebody came to you, Ahmad Bah in Sol Wawen Blackar. That was a lead. But what did he do with the lead? In fact, what he did was he used his discretion not to follow the lead and not to investigate. If somebody comes to you by you can't find evidence not. The guy does not have sufficient evidence. He gave you a lead. Go as an investigator. You use your discretion not to pursue it. And now, just okay, with Quran. Let me make this very clear. Kebalang nenata jabila on social media. Ankaran la loda nyat la ankaran. Nyata mala funga jab. I will never do it. But with regards to Quran, what I would say in relation to for incompetence. Okay, the question is, Nico Quran is incompetent. About jail at some point. Kodi. Biralia bondi ale jumala kije commission. Birin Quran bodaje jumala saita Quran note. I want to ask this question. And was that person more qualified than Quran? In fact, you saw that person, you saw Quran, you said Quran is more qualified, and then Quran became the secretary. Quran bodaje, you bring in the substitute, a la deputy. Did you address the issue of Kafoko? Perhaps the secretary member among competent. Did you address that issue? No, they did not. In fact, the secretary was somebody, Mayor Lonko. He left a drunk member Keleje. Amari.
Yeah. No, these people are cowards, man. They are chickens. Man. They are chickens, man. A lot of chickens. They saw that after I left the place, they brought somebody who we also in the commission, and they admitted was incompetent. He was not sworn in, and then
the reason why I brought this up in my analysis as a question is because I saw this person testifying at the commission.
No, but Afa, what is even me? I'm a consultant. You understand? I am not a civil servant, and I was there because I never worked with Jammeh. I feel sorry for Kebalang. I feel very sorry for him because he wanted to talk about the elephant in the room, but then he think that he could sacrifice me, you know, by bringing in my credibility, you know, and taint it falsely. Falsely. I think Keba should have been he should have been a little bit shy to say that, because first of all, as a qualified chartered accountant, he was not a qualified chartered accountant. He know his own professional record. I'm not here to talk about him or to try to bring him down, but I think he chickened out. He did a very chicken thing because there was nothing. What he could have done was to say, Mamadi couldn't do this or didn't do this properly. In the investigation, everything was done properly as a secretary. And when I left, the house just collapsed. The house of cards collapsed. They themselves admitted that during the investigation, that all this mess happened after I left. So what is it that Keba, instead of talking straight about the point, but then the other issue is, if you see his speech where he said, oh, the secretary was not qualified. What he said later, they said that they have found a company, and that company, right, the lead counsel and the others, whatever, are owners in the company. With all the resources they have, with all the time they have, the incompetency became very clear. They have police at their disposal. Can you imagine, you know how many police these people have assisting them? You know how many accountants that this National Assembly have assisting them? Do you know how many, right, other investigators that they have assisting them? They have all these people, and they said they couldn't even tell who is the shareholder of a company that is already existing, a company that is already working, involved in a multi-million-dollar deal. They are not able to tell who is the shareholder. And then the worst thing is they have no shame to come and tell the people in public, in parliament, that it all found. Keba Lang found in the commission, and he's telling the commission, or the special select committee is so incompetent, we cannot determine who is the shareholder of an existing company when we know the other shareholders. They call people last minute, and then they come back and say, oh, we don't have time to investigate. When, as we are sitting down right now, they could have gone and investigated, because their mandate is on as long as the report is not finalized. And their report is not finalized. So their mandate is on. It's getting to almost 9 months now. They have almost a 9-month mandate, and they cannot determine the shareholder of a company. It is so cowardly, so pitiful. I
would agree, there cannot be an excuse for that. A company that is registered in the Gambia and operates within the jurisdiction of the Gambia, a National Assembly Select Committee, which, by the way, should have even more powers than the Commission. Because the National Assembly constitutionally the oversight body of our constitutional setup. So they have more investigative authority than anyone. They can go where the police cannot even, like,
no, they said instead of saying that, because they were there, they had a team of lawyers, not 1, not 2 lawyers, not 3 lawyers, not 4 lawyers. They had a team of policemen, not 1 policeman, not 2 policemen, not 3 policemen, not 4 policemen. They have a team of auditors and accountants, not 1 accountant, not 2 accountants, not 3 accountants. This thing is really compromised, because they come back and without any conclusive thing, they said you had police and lawyers and accountants and parliamentarians and you investigated. Then you said let it go back to the police again to investigate. No, I think they exposed, for me politically, I know that Keba Lang was forcing it too much. He was forcing it too much. I feel sorry for him, because he started a war that is going to haunt him for a very long time unless he issue a public apology to me, right? I'm going to really hit him, and I'm going to expose him, because that was really faint-hearted, very faint-hearted approach that he did. But I don't mind about that, because what he says is not going to reduce my credibility. What he says cannot take away.
To exaggerate it, I would say I would agree you are not qualified, because you are overqualified. So if somebody is overqualified, that could also mean that they are not qualified to be there. Okay, because but the problem is here. This is the problem with when you give politicians investigative authority. They dive into issues many maybe they will not be as important. Okay, but Ami Bensouda, for example, let's be clear here. There was a direct connection between her and a certain property, and that property was under her investigation. What is the conclusion of that? After 7-8 months of investigation, how many months now? At minimum 6 months. Yeah, okay. What was the conclusion of that investigation? How is it that that never made the headlines? How is it that Ami Bensouda was using her staff? Commission what the agreement between Ami Bensouda herself and the commission was not even clear. But somebody was the worst lawyer the Gambia ever had, and I really wish this man is tried. The Batabidu needs to face a judicial examination for this. I have never seen anybody in Gambia, any Gambian, who treats public office and public material with such contempt and self-entitlement as Batabidu. Go back to the case of our family, Nati, Dundi, in the diplomatic passport issue. You look at the way Batamidu rhetoric and tune, and you listen to Batamidu when he was talking about the parental insult on ministers and the president and the first family, blah blah. That guy is not for public office anywhere in the world. That guy should be prosecuted.
Sol.
Yes.
Sol. Go. So legend memo just 5 minutes.
No problem.
But Abulai full for yesterday. Abulai full for.
No, but kana worry inte salla moyle no.
No, lambesal after but Neymar is, you know. Yeah, so whenever
Namu.
The point is here,
with the unique qualifications that you have, to be honest, if somebody said I'm not qualified, I would not.
No.
I'm not offended. I just know that there is a political tone.
For me, it's more like a political.
It's but because for me, I don't have to go around Gambia telling people how qualified I am. I don't have to do that. People know me. Even before Lamin Kebalang Fofana started his political or whatever professional career, I was into this. So I don't have to do. But I know why he did it. But that doesn't pain me. What really missing is the fact that they use that and then they run away from responsibility. They run away from responsibility. They pretend they got things that they could know. They come to the public and pretend that they don't have enough time to investigate. That's a lie. That's not true. They have the time. They have the resources. They have the means to go to any office and investigate anything. They had even got the power to arrest. Poor people may arrest. These people arrested people who came from poor backgrounds and sent them to mile 2. They said they cannot determine the shareholder of a company.
Karmaba, can you allow me just 1 minute? You see,
okay.
Regarding the Ahmad Bah coup, right? Billahi wallah. There was somebody, and this person was part of the people Melia Lonko, Wolelian Ahmad Bah Nisol Sika, Ke Bulandi Fonkola, Ke Bulandi Motabala, Ke Samba to different locations. And this person come out, and not even the National Assembly were aware of it. Now it's just for the National Assembly to go to the place and see the house themselves. Abulai is telling us to do.
No, Abulai was not motivated by.
No, Abulai is a straight. The chairman was
to expose Ahmad Bah. He was not motivated, but there
Abulai was economical with the facts. He was economical with the facts because
absolutely.
Yeah, to say that, what are they looking? You're looking for money. They tell you where the money is. You say you are too lazy to go and find out because you have the resources. You know.
He used his discretion not to follow the lead, but I lead so the more not I sobendi. Akoyko Ahmad Bah ni solu 10 Ahmad Bah sa fo enen ni sol sikana bar fo jannen dunia bay to ben history bu goko ko Gambia ni sungula muti ntaw fo no let's be clear here because investigation of why I tell you they got a lead
Yalo main dimia This person take all the risk.
Okay. Nimbango malavi nimbango telina tonyala kang nimmansa kunda kurumbalti mansa kunda tapale balomide. You know, a government built on lies, deceit, manipulation and corruption will never do right. Kolom tonyat. The whole point now is any commission or whatever committee they call it, look at the composition of the committee. Now let's even say it's 3 people from the NPP.
No, it's 4 now. It's 4 because if you join the NPP before the report, you are part of it. Exactly. The report is what matters.
So that's the point. So saying Ning Obe caring it Jani report of Onga Finti about independent they joined the NPP. This whole point is that from the office of the president all the way down, these people were fraudulent from the beginning. You know, and what I don't understand, I only have one point. For somebody like that Keba Lang Fofana, Okaka, you know, I might have my own 1 or 2, you know, that I would not agree with Kurang, but is that the person to question Kurang's, you know, qualifications?
No, he's the wrong person.
You put Kebalang here, you put Kurang here, ko Kebalang naga Kurang yininga ila qualifications la. Moro wada Gambia ngame na nyanda Gambia wafila la wada.
Kebalang is very simple. You are a nurse. You went to medical school. You couldn't become a doctor. You just remain a nurse and then did some other courses, and then you say you are questioning doctors. He's never a chartered accountant. I praised him during the commission, but I knew that he didn't have what he was projecting to be. But I don't bring people down because I spend my life making people up. So when he tries to bring me down on such a national platform, I knew it is going to haunt him. So I'm not bothered about him, and I want us to just leave him outside.
Again, listen, look at the person that Kebalang is following every day as his boss, as the president. What qualifications does he have?
Exactly. And then he recommend Barrow for the highest job in the country. Well, he said a chartered accountant, which he could never be, cannot be a secretary. Can you imagine the contradiction of Kebalang?
Yeah, I think that's very personal.
He could never be a chartered accountant. Kebalang you cannot be a nurse who failed medical school and come in the parliament and then you want to smear a medical doctor. Kebalang could never be a chartered accountant. He failed on it. But then he came back and then he wants to make a claim. I feel sorry for him because he shouldn't do that. He shouldn't do that. He shouldn't even have attempted that. But just let's move to the key issues. I think the commission did not follow the money. They didn't follow the money because if you have assets, Melialonko, they are still in doubt. And then you come back and tell people to go iman time or soto. You couldn't investigate those assets. You have all the resources. I know who was in there. I know their investigation setup. They have police from IGP, a lot of them. They have auditors from the Auditor General and the Accountant General. They have lawyers from the AG chambers. All these technical people they have at their disposal. So how can they say that we don't have time or we don't have resources? That is where they fail.
But what I do not understand is why is the office of the president in any way? I think, all the way down to the presidency, there was a lot of foul play in this whole game. Whatsoever, that is just unthinkable in this country. The whole commission in its entirety, and as well with this, select committee, they are just tick boxes. They did nothing good for this country. And the whole point is that this country need to change, and we need to bring in a proper government. Because whatever we point at, it all boils down to the same thing. The commission did not do a good job, and of course, they are just trying to do NPP whitewashing because it what exactly have they done? They just came out to just give us another rubbish document when in reality they know they've looted these assets and did all the rubbish. And of course, so we need to kick this government out.
I just want to ask you something. Yalo iko investigation. Iko ka kisi siroke. Saite amira sayin kisi siro me ya lonko aketa already. But now ye mol melta ye recommend o mol mel ya lonko ye blo chodu wolela. Ina mur kotanke iko puru police ol fane wol kisi kotanke ye na ke kitindi. How do you see that?
That is the highest level of incompetence. Nyama iba fola modo le man qualify. Nyin la fong, you know, food and mobeti. Because the whole point is that if you wanted the police to investigate it, take it to the police from the beginning.
From the beginning.
You, the select committee, actually did your entire investigation. How could you recommend the police to investigate? What is the police going to investigate again? That is what I do not understand. But that also goes to tell that the kind of incompetent persons we have in that assembly to even come out and try to tell other people that they are not qualified is gross incompetence and deliberate negligence of facts. And even some of the people within and around, and you told they are not overly clean. So these are the criminals within the system. How can a criminal investigate a criminal? How can NPP investigate an NPP government? Because 4 of these people are all there. So and okay, let the police what will the police investigate? Because within their investigations, they have police officers who were within. So police do malkotenke. So that tells you the composition of this is not just this, parliamentarians.
And
Behind
again,
the parliamentarians, you have police officers.
Okay, and again, I want to ask you something again. Now, imagine a report may along you already tabled it before the members of the parliament, already tabled before the parliament, and you debate about that report. The chairman come out and say, there are some things Melialonko, and already the report is been shared. Everybody have the report. The chairman come out, that they have mistake. They did not put there are some of the things they did not put there, but they will put those things there. I mean, what did that tell you? What did that tell you?
Okay, what I don't understand is this a draft or this is the report that is already tabled before the assembly and they are going to put some other things there. So will it come back to the assembly for it to be debated again or discussed again? In the offering of it from the beginning all the way to the end, it tells about gross incompetence and inability to actually do the job.
Okay, let me help you. If it is a draft, for example, okay, if it is when they went to the parliament, okay, the minority caucus, what the minority caucus said, well, you to go, okay, let's postpone the debate. At least we can have about 3-4 days so that we can offer ourselves with the report. But they want to rubber it. They want them to debate it the very day.
Moro report korente je anu report korente la fala je ñun la report do mi ngomi foka ko ko dol
ma ngamere ko resolution o kele
only the complete report you will bring before the parliament. You cannot bring an incomplete report before the parliament and the nation. That is in itself disrespectful to the country.
The mistake is somewhat deliberate because I don't know how is it possible that Ablai Malabafla, the former secretary Ibrahim Sise, Albania no ko to list report on when you know that he was the one and in fact there were people many alonko those people it was very easy to get a arrest by the end of this because one I can tell you for free I watched it myself and they didn't deny it. Gilma ila pabiri ngome naraje ila nyatonko ala drive all be munisisana ala drive on one of the junior staff me come consult pour kada nisol dal price and all that will be munisisana let it told be kaitol it told appear multiple times do konton korta do mal for balemba.
But imagine they got a guy who was working within the commission. Meaning, sometimes akavoko atomo,
get the staff off na yewoleke.
Akatoke Ahmad Tibi, so ma atoke Ahmed T, so ma atoke Ahmadu Bambati, more killing. What is more fraudulent? Well, the arrest immediately at our kitindi. But the whole point now is. Even at one point, you realize that even State House was actually, trying to put their hands into the affairs of the. So, the
problem is, I don't have a report buried. Let me just make that clear. But the commission of GB, we know there were confidential files that they were not willing to disclose, and they were directly tied to the president. And his office. Yeah, understand. So what entails it will to Monfel Lower and a recommendation about those things and will the matters they are relating to. So of course there is too much of politics in all of this. Ngalo kan kuram fa yakuma kan fa ma nin kuram benung NPP lanung tumandoba the vocabulary would have been different.
No, the whole point is that and yalong mol bo coming on need a konte ko be Kurang is unqualified or not qualified. But who appointed Kurang? The government of the Gambia. Where does that leave the government of the Gambia and the head of state? This whole thing, for the summary of it is that we have an incompetent government that is unfit to rule the Gambia, that need to be giving a red card to leave because they are corrupt beyond measures. And the whole point is that they will do everything to cover their own corruption because they are being investigated by their own tools. You know? So
And
this
again,
is not an independent inquiry. It is actually NPP investigating NPP in its dominance. And then to conceal that and try to use other people as scapegoats. The whole point is that Barrow and his government is as corrupt as anything that anybody can imagine.
do you forget that the former Minister of Finance, Mambure Njai's name was adversely mentioned during the Jammeh Commission. Now, the president went, and he knows very well that Mambure's name is mentioned. Mambure's name is going to be, come in the reports. The president went and appointed Mambure as Minister of Finance. And that was the only reason Batembedu is saying, that was the only reason Minister of Justice they are saying, they did not, put, or the cabinet is saying, that was the only reason they did not put Mambure or the Minister of Finance into the committee, the Ministerial Task Force Committee. So that alone shows you the interest of the president, that the president did not have any interest. Because what he said, he did not have any interest. Because if somebody who is already conflicted, you allow that person to become as the minister, to be the custodian of all the money, because it's about money. You don't take a commission, go. It's about money. It's about us to have money. So if you come and bring the same thief to be the minister of that money, what are you telling us?
Gambia always sulu to bulu. Angola, I'm gonna leave you, man. But honestly, I think Gambians need to come together and change, man.
No, we will come together. No, we will come together. No, we will come together. We will come together.
Mansakunda min na sunyaro na la tapale na la bandia ko nyim mansakunda nena maje dunia blado. Mansakunda min kan ni so wafu kemelulla wala keme konontola. Moro nena mo moy dunia blado. This government is the worst that you can think about when it comes to economic crimes and of course looting at industrial scale in this country. And then they will use their own people. How could you even imagine those people within that committee? Dolbeje wal nara la fa NPP kan wole be tonya sabatila ntolni wol tema wala kaaje ko Gambian ko le tonya sodo on things that definitely have to do with their finances. Anyway, I hope that people understand what goes.
And again, the report also said, Gambia la main garage where Sadora Fongola Moto, Sadora old vehicle belong at Kotu, the Kotu Central Garage. They sold the Kotu Central Garage almost about 33 million. But what happened was, Simon Madin Layasang. But when they were Kabiyasang, the transaction did not go well, so they canceled it. But up to now, Simon A. Martin is using the complex. That shows how the mafias are operating in this country. They are more powerful than us. Where are they paying the rent? Because if Simon Martin is occupying that place and he did not acquire that place, who is he paying the rent to?
So the transaction did not go through. That means that's a failed transaction. There is no deal. But he is actually occupying the space.
Yes, he's occupying the space up to now. No problem, thank you. Thank you. Sulaiman, Manando wa fana sama na fana na full, Yeah, so Waniba. Wow, Waniba fana bigger. Yes, so.
Yes.
We don't go amwele membe keli nyimbango.
Mbela mwero lanu, yes, murunda nane.
The prank nation.
Wala the prank nation.
Nina na reka binyara go they know go le fonje.
Gambia, wala Gambia. Yemen fo mafial len Gambia banko muta ya control mafialo. And if you come after them, yemu agent will men soto melanko wolele muy daldi wolele ka keloke, they come after you. They come after you. Unko ite institutional men investigate. Ite found a law firm it's a law farm. Wole be luring wole. Is that not conflict? Nko, for Gambian or manya na kadiam wala kola ban. We should talk about that, not about somebody's incompetency. Incompetency, more competent among incompetent. Where Gambian na famina. Gambian tola na fulo is at stake here. That's what is important. Not until incompetency or lamina incompetency or bakarda incompetency. Oman Gambia na fa. Me Gambia na fa. Ntobe men yininka wala ko Gambia na fulo le kasarta. Sila Gambia la nafulo kasarta jumale be responsible ling wala. Nganu lubula wala pour yo ko nyine kisi. So ko kisi lo ay lan kene man nyebang without covering anyone.
Musa said, do you want to come? Okay, send request, no problem, send request.
This is the problem. Nte billahi wallahi talai. Ben Suda family, I don't hate them. Billahi wallahi talai. I have no personal grudge against them. But loba nko mo kana akana come nte na fulitiol muntu kodo muntu at the first place yo kodo fon soto nyaadi la kodo fon soto nyaadi le kodo nyim fon soto nyaadi le. That's what one has to ask. Yala Gambia no bo ikamoje dron ko ye moje na fulo babulu dron yes pilala. You're paranoid because kodo la babulu. Abe trimbalia abe tarjirante ya ba kele kan ebe taradering ita fem fola. You know.
Last time ni atle but mala waya manda.
Yes, so this is the problem.
So yalong membe keni yaje wala nande buge danku ni ko abonde ko yekar nyol konne and I just remain quiet
iko wala fo iko ka fa ko comment ngol konne de able
moment long da buga mo kon but the thing is ndaka to nyaale fo
absolutely
fo aninka mo kon aman killing be alon ko nyanda ka bondi nyoko ngo
yes
mbe ko le fo kala jam mel yalon ko anyanda kini masakunda limbal yalon anin ka long because yalon membe keri the National Assembly niaji be the National Assembly for example niaje nyinju jayo bebe kala kule be keri kule ya sabu Suleiman almalo kule ya sabu yalon menketa because kiskisiro menketa e seleta ku jama balle kan baru ko le mel seleta kan niaje itana modo no ma yesamana NPP ko ti alonde bari adama man follow de yalon kodo be commission kodo findida commission to mobe ma wolong because there are people in the commission mel yalon ko mol lata wolla mol jigita wolla mol tata wolla kan duma kadiya moye ka fe ko nyinni be kering
well Umar Jatto Jammeh fon la ta NPPs there's something fishy there must be something fishy on that
ngam fo ngo there are special NPC mel yalon ko mol lata wolla comme fonni ko do lata lele fonni ko do ya fil mo do ya fil ko ni benta idi amute yakuma foye ibe sutura la kanne modolu some of family members they report their own family members into this commission because they love the country because they have seen the cry of the nation wala dinan ko dibitol ñu le findi ko ma fa mo le bango we are not asking them to investigate for the police to come and do another investigation. That's not what we are asking. That's not what we are asking.
Enya kasala kadana wolo tele is rubbish. Mba ba block la this day. Ba block la. Non defend. I will block him. I will block him. The tribal issue new someone na wolo to wrong I block you.
Alo kunjao nyama tole na block la nyama tole.
Yeah.
Analo kunjao ko mala mbafle na block la.
Yeah.
Modo diam kana banko ko la it tribalism so
these people need most if all fon can irritate more katra important issue for kan it a tribal issue for tribal come mu 1908 but mon yinata tribal we are not looking at tribe here we are looking at our nation boy how to progress our nation absolutely well problem mot mol bo jibe la jam mol bo di ko le diamo kan jam you know mol melanko Imam Bafla, the elites, we have to stop protecting the elites. Wala be Gambia. Wala be Gambia. Wala nyanta ka stop. Okay? Nakare, wala nyanta ka stop o banko kam. Nakare le nyanta ka stop banko kam. Gambia tonya folal ni pareta ka tonya fodron molle kana ke naji ke nakare. Tilo nyama. Wallahi ka tonya nakare. Wala man betea. That's absolutely wrong. Absolutely. In unko conflict of interest. Ani incompetency. Jumala conflict of interest. Niko mo you are conflicted. We mune firle. We mune mamba fla. Wala meaning mo minati. Min dumala. Instead na fast to no jele. Dumala nga kule tamandi même man finti. Fenne banta tama duma intela interest kam. O fenne mola benta represent kam duma on behalf of me and I benefit from it. What conflict of interest. So nitala law firm the social security represent kam. And the same time italam lead counsel to investigate that institution. Nko. What is more conflict than that? Gambia no lang ngol to for more competence anal incompetent, that doesn't matter. Nko, okay. Iko kurang man competent, okay? Let's agree to disagree. Bambe menasa ema for kurang corrupted. Yale ema for corrupta.
Ema for is having conflict of interest when I move from farm.
Emo fanam farmer. Silangana jibe conflict of interest and incompetency. Gambia no mune sula.
Yalo menkeda. They want to talk about the conflict of interest, but they don't want to talk about the conflict of. Imagine, look at the way they were framing. Look at the way they were explaining the conflict of interest. That's so go. Mafia ka opere wala nyama. Hey, yes. Flaman. Yalo wala nela model je diablo ko itara university itara dula to billahi ko do be janna ba ngai ko na dunia tama otumo man dunia tama. Na international representation ko otumo man international commentation ke. Kai ko kaman ka foko ka angale bafo o ka kaiti ba mu de block and to have the wisdom is completely different.
It's completely different.
To mafia le do ko ke. Dole mafia la operation fente gentleman mello. Ni mo amra go ma nyaaye jam. Compagnie betara jam compagnie melia lonko. Imagine a company registered. You tell us you don't know the shareholders of that company.
Ebe jelba, ebe break kananun. Ebe moy kan. Ebe break kanane no. Say ka moy la. Yes,
Hello,
yes. Yes, time be moy kan. Yeah, what moy ebe break kanano.
Ebe break kanane, I mean, more important. So come même fois yaje mafia ka operate nyame ni compagnie yele e ka ke mole to le me ya lon ko amari be deal kan what but amari comme amari ma morio mari long business solale and that takes me to one guy namen to moy e ka fay ko Ibrahima Jede and okay alors Ibrahima Jede. So Ibrahima Jete toje. I know Ibrahima Jete. Natara Ibrahima Jete lem. I know what Ibrahima Jete me ya lonko ala real estate do koke. I know I cannot me wa